Do you like to read a lot of fantasy? If yes, then this video might be helpful for you to discover more fantasy novels that I recently read and loved. Hi there, I'm Manpreet. I make book related videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. And if you're new here, please make sure you subscribe, follow me on my social media and turn your notifications on by hitting that bell button so that you get notified every time I post a new video. In today's video, I am bringing you my March wrap up. I read a lot of fantasy novels in March, and let me tell you what these novels are about and whether they're worth reading or not, or how much I enjoyed these novels. But in the end of the video, I also have a self-help book that I have been reading and I am really liking it, but I do have a lot of opinions about it and a perspective that I really want you guys to listen to. So make sure you watch the entire video, and now let's get started. If you want to follow my live updates of reading, then please make sure you follow me on my Instagram. I do a lot of rants, live updates, live vlog stories and stuff like that on Instagram. And I have been talking about how I was reading 2 secret projects this month. What are secret projects? Basically, I work with a lot of authors to review their books, and earlier the problem was that I would never give them an out. I would say that if I read your book, I am going to tell my viewers about it, whether I like it or dislike it. And a lot of newbie authors always complain, Manpreet, if you do not like our book, can you just not talk about it or not tell the whole world that you hate the book? And I kind of considered it in a way that I said that I would first read your book, and if I like it, then I will go ahead and talk to my viewers about it and tell my viewers about it. Otherwise, they all will stay unmoved and not know about your book at all. Now, I always make my viewers a part of the decision, so I announced this in my February wrap-up. But this month I got 2 books that I actually loved reading, so I am going to tell you about those 2 fantasy novels. First one is highly excited about it because it's an Indian fantasy novel. It's called Born to be King, the Epic of Kautilya by Deepak Thomas. It's the first book in this fantasy novel series, and the reason why I'm very excited about this is because you guys know that I really want to figure out or discover more Indian fantasy novels which are not based around Mahabharata, Ramayana or Indian gods and goddesses. I look for other fantasy novels with Indian mythical elements, and this is a perfect pick for that. An easy to read, very beautifully written book. I really like that, you know, the main character is a woman character, which I love because I don't think there are many fantasy novels that feature a woman character in the lead in India. So I am really excited. It's about this girl named Kautilya who is born with the qualities of a parrot, and she's always shunned in the whole society because of being a woman, and then she's born with the quality of parrots, which is quite opposite to the quality of eagles and hawks that her brothers have. She's the daughter of a powerful king, but soon her family is betrayed, and it's up to her to take the vengeance and to reinstate the power and goodness of her family and her character. I really like this book. I have a full review planned. I am planning to put it up on Monday, but a very good news for you guys. See, I have 5 more copies of these books, which I am going to give away to you guys. So you get to read this fantasy novel, which is brilliant, and you guys get to win these books, but not in this video, okay? This is just a teaser, guys. You guys get to win these books in the review video, so make sure you watch the review video and listen to what you need to do to win a fantasy novel. There would be 5 winners, of course. No, I think I'm gonna do 4 winners on YouTube and 1 winner on Instagram. So these giveaways are coming up on Monday, so make sure you follow the review of this book. Coming up this Monday, 7 p.m. Next, again, I picked up an ebook which is called Magic Required by H.S. Paisley. Now this is by a foreign author, and it is a beautiful fantasy novel about this guy who has fought with God, who is highly powerful, but he has decided to leave his past behind and live in sort of secrecy, live unnoticed and do a soul-sucking job in customer service and deal with, you know, clients, retail clients. We all know how we get when we are mad, right? But the problem happens when this guy starts getting prophetic visions, and now he has to decide whether he is gonna stay like the way he is or change himself to maybe help somebody or maybe save some lives. That's what this book is about. I got serious how to stop time vibes from this book. How to Stop Time. This is the book. I haven't finished reading it, but this was like very beautiful. And this Magic Required also was beautifully written. It's written from first person perspective, and I love fantasy novels that are written from first person perspective because you get to go deep. I wouldn't say I love, because I have seen some disasters written from first person perspective, but this one you get to know this guy so beautifully, so amazing, and I love the whole plot. There's mystery in it, and it's easy to read. The magic system is very simple, and I need to say this, when I say simple when it comes to fantasy novels, it's never a negative word. It's a beautiful quality, because I believe that when people write fantasy novels, they go very complicated, okay? They make this magic system, they make this world which is hard to understand, and because it becomes so hard to understand, a reader is unable to enjoy it. I believe if you're writing a fantasy novel, any reader should be able to enjoy it, and both with Born to Be King and this Magic Required, the fantasy novel is very easy. The world building and the magic system is well built and easy to understand. So even if you are a beginner, you can pick up these books and read these. That's why I loved both of these books. I will do full reviews of this book. This one's review is coming up on maybe next Sunday, so make sure you check out the review of this book as well. I really love these. If you're into fantasy novels, which why are you not? Really, why are you not into fantasy novels? You need to pick up these books and check them out. Born to Be King, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This one got 3.8 out of 5 stars, but it's like 3.8 is 4. You will see 4 on Goodreads, so yeah, pick it up. Next book that I finished reading last month is something I don't know why I delayed it so much. See, I read the first book in this series and I was in absolute love, and you guys know that better than anybody else. But I think because I ordered it later on, I kind of lost touch, and then I moved to Audible and I listened to this book on Audible, which is Crown of Midnight, a Throne of Glass novel by Sarah J. Maas. I believe that I was handling or trying to handle a lot of books, which is why I kind of like took so long to read this book. But again, I love this book so much. In second book in this Throne of Glass series, the author dives more into the relationship between Keol and Selena, and I loved it so much. And the Audible experience was again very, very, very beautiful. I love Audible because of that. I think it's not really the company that should be loved with this, it's really the narrator, because that narrator really made this a pleasant read. Though she cannot be better than Stephen Fry, but she was very, very good. And I really like this book. I really like the relationship between Keol and Selena, and all these things happened. Though I feel like, you know, the ending kind of was like, okay, but I took too long to read this book, so I do not have a very specific opinion about it, but I definitely want to read the next book, obviously, because Selena Sardotian, one of my favorite characters in a fantasy novel, so have to read all the books featuring Selena Sardotian. Overall, I would say I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. I love it. And also, I read a couple of reviews. I try not to read reviews of other people, but I read a couple of reviews. They were like, oh, I didn't like Throne of Glass. She's supposed to be an assassin, but she's doing all those girlish things. So what do you mean to say? If a person is an assassin, if a person is powerful, strong, and if that person happens to be a woman, can't she be in love, or can't she do girly things which you think are girly? Can't she love clothes? Can't she have her own vulnerabilities? Can't she have her own demons inside her? Like, what do you mean to say? Like, I don't even want to like get into that discussion, but I would really say that when you read characters, guys, you should really not try to take a character as a black or white character, like good or bad, an assassin. What's the fun in that? An assassin with different types of quality, an assassin who is an assassin when she's out there killing people, an assassin who is a cute little girl, a teenager, when she's inside her home, or when she's just hanging out with a guy she really likes. That's what you want to read. You don't want to read this one black and white character. Seriously, okay? So that's my piece for people who are disappointed that this book is not like a gruesome novel where all the time she's killing people and she's being a beast all the time, okay? It's not supposed to be that way. Next, you guys already know that I am very adamant about finishing the Mortal Instruments series, because I am fascinated with fantasy. I am fascinated with the fantasy world. Even though the first book was really boring, I still ended up reading City of Ashes, and a lot of you also told me that, you know, you found it really boring, and the more boring you find the first book, the more interesting this book gets. So I also enjoyed this book a lot. I really did a full review on City of Ashes, which you should check. I'll link it down below. And honestly, I love this book. I loved the fact that I read this book, okay? I wouldn't say that there are things that I would discuss, you know, I did like this, I didn't like that. It was like, okay, some sections were not so good, but I love the fact that I read this book. I loved the experience that I got from this book, which is why 4 out of 5 stars. I would really urge you to check out the review of my City of Ashes, book talk. It's a half spoilery, half non-spoilery review, so you would not be spoiled even if you check the review. For all my reviews, I try not to have spoilers, but if there are some spoilers, I always warn you about it. I really wanted to do a little bit of bragging this time, okay? So Kautilya was 344 pages long, although it was an ebook, so I didn't really realize. Even this Magic Required was 310 pages long, something like that. Again, it was an ebook, I didn't realize. But this one, it was an audible book and it was like 20-30 hours long, but it's a 422 page book. So keep counting the pages I read in the last month. This one is 407 pages. The next book I finished reading in the last month was 508 pages long, which is the third book in the Mortal Instruments series, City of Glass. I keep trying to memorize these like City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire. I remembered all of that. You didn't see that thing I did. I really liked this more than City of Ashes. I think I liked it more. I have a full review written and planned for you guys because I feel like these books are so long, and the fact that I'm reading them very nicely at a very slow pace, I kind of miss things when I do my wrap-ups, but I have written down like 10 pages of review for again this book, and I really like the fact that I read it in this. So if you need a background on the books, it's a Shadowhunter novel, which is a world where part human, part angels called Shadowhunters live. And Shadowhunters try to keep all the downworlders in check and fight demons, okay? While you get to live your normal life. Yeah, they exist. They exist even in India. The author has a lot of references to India as well, which I really loved, okay? I think the main plot of the whole series is about this evil Shadowhunter called Valentine, and he is trying to, disrupt everything and change the way Shadowhunter world is. And City of Bones was like that. City of Ashes was where Clare had feelings for this guy who is her, and it was really taxing on her. And there was another plot going on where downworlders were getting killed, and you had to figure out who was killing these downworlders, and it had a great finale in that sense. Then in City of Glass, Clary goes to the City of Glass, like Idris, where Shadowhunters actually live, Alicante. Yeah, do not judge me on the pronunciation, okay? And there is another character called Sebastian, and the whole story just shifts from Brooklyn, New York to City of Glass, okay? And I really like this book a lot, but at the same time I feel like because I was rereading it, I knew everything about it, so I was just like, I didn't get that shock you get at the end of this book, but I still really enjoyed this book. And yeah, it was a good read. 500 plus pages. I'm so proud of myself. Now these are the books that I finished reading last month. There's another book which is the next book in the Mortal Instruments series, which is called City of Fallen Angels, and I have read about 90 pages of this book. I think this is shorter than the other ones. This is actually like the same length, 434 pages long, but it has a bigger font, and I think I'll be able to get through it easily. The most amazing part of this is that I truly do not remember what happens in City of Fallen Angels. I just do not have that memory of reading City of Fallen Angels. Like, why? But I'm really excited to read this book as well. If you want to read along with me, just follow me on my Instagram so that we can catch up and we can talk about the books, and you can message me and we can just do a lot of bookish discussion in the stories. And if you want to do that, please make sure you follow me on my Instagram and follow me and while I read this book, okay? No spoilers, okay? Lastly comes the self-help book that I have been reading, and I do have a little bit of a rant for it. This book is called Megaliving by Robin Sharma. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying reading this book. I have read about, how many pages? 47 pages, okay? You can say 50 pages, okay? And I really am liking this book, but the thing is, this book is entirely what you see or read in The Power by Rhonda Byrne, or you can say The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Now, The Power happens to be my favorite book. I have a review for it. I'll link it down below. It happens to be my favorite book, and while I was reading this book, one thing that came to my mind was that, see, a lot of self-help books, they just sell you this same concept, the concept of manifestation, how if you want something very much, universe tries to give it to you, but you have to want it in the right way. You have to visualize, manifest, and stuff like that. And a lot of books talk about this thing, okay? And I believe that you do not need to read all of those books. There is this thing which we all are going through, this like sheep herd thing, where people are just going about I need to read more books, I need to read more books. Nobody cares how many books you have read in your life, okay? Especially you should really care about the experiences you have gotten from the book. You do not need to read 100 books. You just need to read 5 good books that you can read over and over and over again. I mean, yes, with fiction, you might want to go for the quantity. You might want to read more stories, you might want to enjoy more stories, but at the same time, I would encourage you to reread fiction as well. Even then, I understand it with fiction, but I do not understand this race people are running when it comes to self-help books. Like this book, then The Power of Subconscious Mind, which happens to be one of the most popular books out there, and I truly DNF'd it. I felt like, no, I don't care if I do not get to add this book to my number of books I've read. But this book is not just something I want to read, okay? This book is something that is not putting the point across in a proper manner. And the point was the same. The point was the same in this book, in The Power by Rhonda Byrne, and in The Power of Subconscious Mind, and even a lot of other books that I read, they talk of the same thing. So my point is, why do you have to read different books? Okay, I am reading it because I want to tell you guys about it, but you as an individual, you should not be spending your time on accumulating more self-help books into your I have read this catalog. You should spend your time on rereading the self-help books that you find genuine and you find great, and implementing those books. So that's just one thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to self-help books. I really feel like we need to stop running this race, and we really need to start winning our lives instead, okay? Nobody is going to award you for reading lots of books, okay? Especially self-help books. Nobody is going to award you for reading a certain number of self-help books, especially if you are not implementing those things, especially when they're saying the same thing. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, that also says the same thing in a different manner. So I believe in the concept of manifestation, and I believe people should know it in the whole sense. And for that, you need to read one of these books. Megaliving, The Power by Rhonda Byrne. My recommendation would be The Power by Rhonda Byrne. I have loved that book and I have talked about it very often on my channel. The Alchemist, I have read it but didn't get the point. Power of Subconscious Mind, a really boring book. You do not need to be reading it. Megaliving is again a good book. But then again, I feel like it is a good book, but if I didn't know about the power of manifestation, and if I didn't know about the concept through The Power by Rhonda Byrne, I wouldn't have liked this book. Instead of accumulating these books, just read The Power by Rhonda Byrne and then stay away from any other book about manifestation, and just live your life, achieve great things in your life, and be awesome. And yes, that's the end of the rant. I hope you got my point. I'd want to know what you think about it. Do you feel like the pressure of reading more books, especially I know a lot of bloggers, I know a lot of book bloggers follow me. Do you feel that pressure of reading more books? I feel like that pressure is universal. It also happens to other people as well. Do you really feel like somebody or some invisible force is pushing you to pick up more books instead of, enjoying the ones you already have, enjoying the ones you have already read and enjoyed? Let me know in the comments down below and let's have a discussion over this. And don't forget to check out the links to all of these books mentioned in the description down below. I'll also put the reviews if I have for any of these books in the description down below. Do check it out. This is Maas signing off. I'll be back with another video very soon.